Hey there, so in this video also we are going to see some codes on arrays. Let's quickly get started. Now in the first problem statement, what we need to do is we need to calculate the count of total number of odd and even elements in an array. So let's say we have one array and in that array we have some even elements and some odd elements. So we just need to find out how many odd elements are there in the array and how many even elements are there in the array. So let's quickly get started. So let's start with declaring an integer array. So I'll name it as int arr. Let's put some elements in it. So let's say 1 2 4 7 3, let's say 6 9 10. Okay, let's say these are the elements. Now what we just need to do is we need to find out how many odd elements are there and how many even elements are there. So what we'll do is, see, we'll maintain two counters. The first one will be odd counter. Both the counters will be initialized to 0, and the second counter will be even counter. So what we'll do is, see, the idea is very simple. Whenever you will encounter any odd element in the array, you will just increment the odd counter. Whenever you encounter any even element in the array, you will just increment the even counter. And once we have completed, or once we have iterated through the entire array, we'll just print the value of odd counter and even counter. Okay, so in this way we'll get the count of odd elements and even elements. So let's do that. So I'll write a for loop which will start from 0, because the index starts from 0. Let's calculate the size of the array. So I'll write int size is equal to size of int arr divided by size of int arr of 0. Alright, then the condition over here will be I should be less than size, and in every iteration we'll increment I by 1. Now we can get individual element of an array using array name of I. So I'll write int arr of I. So this is the individual element of an array. We just need to check whether this element is even or odd. So what I'll do is I'll write one if condition. If int arr of I mod 2, if this is equal to 0, that means this element is an even element, okay, or it's an even number. So in this case what we'll do is we'll just increment the even counter. All right, else, so if we are going inside else, that means it's an odd number. So in that case what we'll do is we'll just increment the odd counter. See, I hope you remember all these things from our previous models. If you divide anything by 2, then if the remainder comes out to be 0, the element is going to be even, or the number is going to be even. If the remainder comes out to be 1, then the number is going to be odd. Alright, so that's why in order to get the remainder we have mod operator, and we are just making use of that. So in this way you can get count of even numbers and odd numbers. Now once this for loop is finished, we can just print the even count and odd count. So I'll write number of even elements, and similarly number of odd elements. Okay, let's print number of even elements. So they are stored in even counter, and similarly the number of odd elements are stored in odd counter. That's it. Now let's compile and execute this code. Let's see whether it works properly or not. So I'll clear the terminal. Let's execute, let's compile this code. So name of the file is 10codes2.cpp. Let's execute it now. You can see it is showing number of even elements as 4 and number of odd elements as 4. Let's verify this. See, 1 is odd, then so we have one odd element. 2 is even, so we have one even element. Then 4 is even, so 2 even elements. 7 is odd, so 2 odd elements. 3 is odd, so 3 odd elements. 6 is even, so 3 even elements. 9 is odd, so 4 odd elements, and 10 is even, so 4 even elements. So 4 odd and 4 even elements. So that's correct. Let's say if I remove this 10 from the list, then in this case we should get output as 3 even and 4 odd. So let's see. You can see we are getting the correct output. So in this way our code is working without any issue. All right, so I hope you are clear with this problem statement. It is kind of simple. Okay, let's move to the next problem statement. In the next problem statement, what we need to do is we need to write a program to find maximum and the minimum element in the array. Okay, so let's say we have an array, and in that array we have some random elements. So we need to find out which is the maximum element in the array and which is the minimum element in that array. So let's see how we can do it. So let's start with declaring the array. So what I'll do is I'll copy paste the same array that we have used over here, and I'll also copy paste this line to calculate the size, because this is very redundant and this is very boring to write it multiple times. See, right now this array looks kind of sorted, so it looks like it is sorted in ascending order. Let me shuffle it a bit. Okay, it is not sorted actually. You can see 1 2 4 7 and then we have 3, so it is not sorted, but still we'll shuffle it some more. Let's say I'll make this one as 10, I'll keep this as 2, then let's make this 4 as 41, then 7 3. Okay, cool. Let's say this is our array int arr. Okay, now we'll need to find out the maximum element. So if you see, the maximum element in this case is 41. All right, and the minimum element in this case is what? It is, I guess, 3. No, it is 2. Okay, minimum element is 2. So basically this is our answer, maximum 41 and minimum is 2. So let's see how we can find out the maximum and minimum element of an array programmatically. So for that, what I'll do is I'll take you to the whiteboard, and over there we'll understand the logic for finding maximum and minimum element of an array, and then we'll convert that logic into our code. Okay, so let's switch to the whiteboard. See, first element is 10, then we have 2, then we have 41, then we have 7, then we have 3, then we have 6, and then we have 9. Okay, now let's first talk about the maximum element, finding the maximum element of an array. So what we'll do is, see, it is very simple. This program is also very simple. You just need to focus very carefully on how we are building the logic. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start with one variable, we'll create one variable and we'll name it as max. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll take the first element of an array. So this is the first element of the array. So we'll take the first element and we'll store this first element into max. Okay, so currently we can say that the first element is the maximum element. Okay, now this part of the array is remaining, or this entire array is remaining. We haven't seen whether we have any bigger number than this which is stored inside max right now. We don't know whether we have any bigger number inside this part or the remaining part of the array. Okay, so what we'll do is, see, this is the element with index 1, index 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our step 1 was creating the max variable and initializing it with ARR of 0. Okay, and right now we can say that this is the maximum element of an array. Okay, because we haven't explored the entire array yet, but we can say that right now it is the maximum element. Now what we'll do is we'll start the iteration. We'll start one loop which will start from this element. Okay, the element with index 1, and in every iteration what we'll do is we will compare the element with the current value of max. If the element is greater than current value of max, then what we'll simply do is we'll replace the max value with that value, that element's value. So let's see how we can do it. See, right now max is 10, and let's say you start the iteration, and in first iteration the element that you will get is 2. So 2 is not greater than 10, correct? So that's why we are not going to replace the max. Max is still 10. Okay, 2 is not greater than 10. So we can say that till this part of the array, max is still 10. Okay, so we have explored arrays so far. We have explored 2 elements, and from these 2 elements 10 is the maximum. Okay, so now again we are continuing our iteration. So now we are at this position. Now at this position you can see the element that we have is 41. Okay, now 41 is definitely greater than 10. So we can say that 41, which is the current element, is greater than the old maximum or the current value of maximum. So what we'll simply do is we'll replace the old value or the current value of max with the new maximum that we are getting, which is 41. So now we'll say that we have explored array till this point. So we have explored it till this point, and till this point the max is 41. Okay, so you can see we are starting from one element, and then in every iteration we are covering one element, and we are getting the maximum out of the array. We'll repeat the same process. Is 7 greater than 41? Answer is no. So we'll move ahead. Is 3 greater than 41? Answer is no. We'll move ahead. Is 6 greater than 41? Answer is no. We'll move ahead. Is 9 greater than 41? Answer is no. Now the entire array is completed. We have seen the entire array, and then finally we can say that whatever value is present inside the max variable is the maximum element of an array. So this is a simple logic. I hope you understood this logic. It is very simple and straightforward. So let's go to the VS Code and let's implement this logic into the code. So see, what we need to do is, as a first step, we need to create a variable called as max. Okay, and then we'll initialize this max with the first element of the array, so int arr of 0. Okay, then we'll write a for loop. Now this time the for loop will start from index 1, because we have already seen, or we have already explored the first element, and we have already initialized our max with the first element which has index as 0. So instead of starting for loop with index 0 or from index 0, we'll start the for loop from index 1. Okay, and then again this for loop will go till size minus 1, and then in every iteration it will increment I by 1. Okay, so I will be less than size, because we know that size of the array is going, in this case it is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but the maximum index is going to be 6, so that's why we are saying that I should be less than size. Okay, so 6 is going to be less than 7, but 7 is not going to be less than 7. So we will terminate the loop when your I will become 7. Okay, now what we'll do is, see, it's very simple now. We have the value of max, so we'll just compare the current element. So we'll write int arr of I. If this element is greater than the current value of max, then what we just need to do is, we just need to update the max with this new value. That's it. Okay, and then we'll keep on doing this. We'll run this for loop, and once this for loop is completed, we'll just print the value which is present inside the max variable. So I'll write max element is, oh shit, I need to print the value of max, so I'll write max followed by endl. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Let's quickly see whether this code works or not. So I'll compile this code. Oh, okay, we need to comment out this code because one program can have only one main, one file can have only one main function. Okay, let's compile it. You can see it has got compiled. Let's clear the terminal. Let's execute the code now. You can see it is printing max element as 41. So our program is working as per our expectations. All right. Now let's see how we can find the minimum element. So see, the logic is going to be very similar that we have written for max. I'll just change the name of this variable to min. We'll initialize the min with arr of 0 or int arr of 0. Now over here, the only change that we will be doing is in this condition. See, if we find an element which is lesser than the current value of min, then we'll replace the min with that element, or that with that value, and then we'll just print the value of minimum at the end of the for loop. So that's it. So let's compile this code once again and let's execute it. You can see it is printing minimum element as 2. So see the code, we are just changing the condition. See, in case of maximum, if we are finding an element which is greater than max, then we are modifying the max, or then we are updating the max. In case of minimum, it will be opposite. If we find an element which is lesser than the current minimum value, then we are updating min with that element. Okay, and once this for loop gets completed, we'll print the value of min, or the value which is present inside the min variable. So in this way, you can get maximum and minimum element of an array. So I hope you are clear with both the codes that we covered in this video. Thank you so much for watching this video.